during the time of the Jonathan regime. 2015, she flew to London, where there was some kind of charges against her when the new government took over, and that was the former President Muhammadu Buhari. But I can now confirm that according to the news coming out from the National Crime Agency here in UK called the NCA, the ex-Nigerian politician will be charged for corruption case. The case will go ahead. We can't say so much on it because, according to the NLC, she's not yet guilty, and we will have to wait until when the court proceeding will happen and everything will go. But I will give you what we need to know so far. According to the CPS, made the decision to authorize the charge after reviewing a file of evidence from the NCA relating to allegations of bribery in Nigeria. Criminal proceedings against Mrs. Alison Madueke are active. She has a right to fair trial. It's also extremely important that there should be no reporting, commentary, or sharing of information could in any way produce this proceeding. But what is she going to be charged for? I will be telling you a little bit more. She's alleged to have benefited from at least about £100,000 in cash, shuffle driving cars, flight on the private jet, luxury holiday for her family, and in use of multiple London property. Dizaini Alison Madueke, 63 years old, who also served as the president of the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC, was a key figure in the Nigerian government between 2010 and 2015. She will now be appearing at the London Magistrate Court in London just a day after the independence of Nigeria on the 2nd of October this year.
Well, listen, that's interesting one. Here at least, though, she's going to have a free and fair hearing. And then, as we are saying, we don't have to make any comments that will prejudice the case that is going to go on. So we will be quiet, but we'll be monitoring it very, very closely. Now, the other story that you were talking about a priest or a pastor who has come out to say, look, under the rule of what do you call him, Tinubu, Nigeria is going to see lots of prospects. But there's a picture of the former Prime Minister Tony Blair and the current President Tinubu, and there is a statement that Tony Blair had made back in the day, saying that, look, one of the things that is going to bring about lots of trouble or war is religion. Yomi.
Well, Tony Blair, as we all know him very well, a former Labour Prime Minister in UK, well loved by so many people, but unfortunately it seems the love started fading off quickly after the invasion of Iraq, which is not what we are discussing today. But a couple of things that Tony Blair said that has now popped up again is based on what first and foremost Professor Lumumba said against the British Prime Minister. We will be going into that later on, but what I want us to talk about is what actually Tony Blair said just in 2001 during some engagement at the Starr University in America. He actually referenced to Nigeria, and I think we could have what he actually said, and he said it, let's listen to Tony Blair some 11 years ago, and this is got to do with part of what we're going to be discussing today when it comes to the religious fighting in Nigeria. For recent religious controversy in Nigeria, but let's listen to Tony Blair. This is about 11 years ago.
200,000. That's a lot of people. Now, so aid does matter. Trouble with aid is ultimately, I think it works better for that type of thing. And, when we cancelled the debt of many of these countries, a lot of them were able then to fund free primary education for the first time and so on. So all of this was important. But I feel myself that as Africa has shifted, it's also time to add this new dimension. So I don't add it in place of aid. And I think for our communities, by the way, it is important that our people, because, you will face the same pressures as we face in the UK. I mean, David Cameron, the UK Prime Minister, has made a commitment to maintain our position on aid, and that's tough to do. I mean, it's a big commitment, and it's something I applaud, by the way. But it's important that people who are taxpayers in countries going through periods of austerity also understand this money is actually does result in lives saved, and it's an investment too for our future. In Africa today, if I was to look at the fragilities, they would be around in sub-Saharan Africa. For example, if you look at Nigeria.
Okay, bear with us there. It seems okay. Let's finish it up here. All right. It seems what he was actually saying. I could tell you in just simple word is the potential for conflict between different faith community might have one of the biggest challenge in Nigeria, and that is actually happening as we will be discussing some of the 4 major controversy crises going on when it comes to this issue in Nigeria today. Let me come back again to you in the studio, Mr. Archie. Once again, it is still Star Radio UK, the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. Okay,
listeners, Mr. Olaimi Koiki, they've been at a third YouTube channel that has kickstart. So please, if you are monitoring us, you are following us on that, please go on that one so that it can be interactive there. Okay, the first 2 for some reason have restarted. All right then. Now that's what Tony Blair has said. Now we see we talk about, is it El-Rufai, the statement that he made pertaining to his state, and then so you see that some of the religious leaders are wedging. Or some leaders, political leaders, are wedging that thing in there that is causing about a division in the people. So we're not talking about tribal ones or the various groupings that we have. The main one now is what is going on. We had it back in the day when was it last year when one student in the north was lynched. Yeah, was lynched because he's made a statement with some say that it was against the Holy Prophet and stuff like that. That seems to be going on. So do Nigerians agree with what Tony Blair was saying?
Well, you would think that 11 years after Tony Blair said this, there will be some kind of those of people that believe that we should be able to work together in harmonies, live together side by side. But that is not actually happening in Nigeria today. The woman behind you, I'll be telling you a little bit more about her. But let's first look quickly into the 4 recent religious controversy in the most populous black nation in the world, and as we all say, also the world poverty, the world capital poverty of the world as well. Let's go straight to it. Controversy around the power of religion in Nigeria has remained a sensitive topic among citizens, even up to the election that was just concluded, which is still in the election tribunal, as we know, because the ethnic card was played, the religious card was played. We saw that we now have, in a very long time, what we call the Muslim ticket, which again has been a big controversy. But that is not where we're going today. We have 3 major religions in Nigeria. We have the Christianity, we have the Islam, and we have the indigenous worshipper. The woman behind you, I'll be telling you why she's in that picture this morning. All the 3 over the last year have continued to fight to protect the laws and beliefs governing their practices. In this piece, we will discuss just 4 out of them. The first one, it was an advert that was put together by a bank called Starling Bank during the Easter of last year, putting Jesus Christ to a popular bread called agege bread. These actually sparked an outcry amongst many, especially the devoted Christians in the country. The advert message was, like agege bread, he rose, published alongside a picture of the bread divided into the halves. This was not well taken by the Christians in Nigeria, and there was a spark. Even they immediately called for his retraction and removal of the chief executive officer of the Starling Bank, Abubakar Sulaiman. Bear that name. Abubakar Sulaiman is a Muslim. Could this have been done in a way that maybe, well, we will leave that for now. Let's talk about the next one. Davido versus the Muslim community. the Muslim community in the north started burning down Davido's images. What was the reason for that? Unlike the Sterling Bank forgiveness, did not look like a rout. A Muslim devotee was looking to pile the following release of a music clip by the popular Nigerian artist David Adeleke, popularly known as Davido. Davido on July 21 released a 45-second clip from the music video of his signing Olamilekan Taiwo, aka Lagos Olori title Jaye Jaye. The video features some Muslim clerics outside a mosque dancing, and the act many Muslim devotees criticized, tagging the particular scene as very, very disrespectful. The last one is a Kwara Muslim cleric and Isheshe worshipper, the woman behind you. Ilorin does not permit idol worshipper, even though she's a Yoruba, but she lives in Kwara State. She's not been allowed, permitted to practice her idol worshipper according to what they're saying. A Muslim group, Mujisu Shahab Ila Umola Society in Ilorin, Kwara State, made the news after the video surfaced on Facebook showing that they stormed the home of an indigenous religious priest, Yeye Adesikemi Olokun Omolora Olatunji, to warn her against holding a planned festival organized in the state, because Ilorin is not for worshipping of such. You should take that to another state. And as we speak today, there's another young man that is facing similar situation called Tani Olom. But like I said, religious has been one of the biggest fights in Africa. But as Nigerians, it is even much more difficult to understand why we cannot live side by side as people, because as of today, there is still religious fight going on in the north, in the middle belt. As you said already, El Rufai is warning Bola Tinubu, the president. Maybe if they have not fallout, maybe El Rufai would not have said so. Invading Niger is declaring civil war against the northerner Nigeria, where we know that there's more Muslim in the north. El Rufai is now warning Tinubu, let us not bend therefore over the backward to avoid a civil war. The question then is, why did El Rufai not say much when the killings during the Buhari regime was going on between the southeast and the president?
That is quite an interesting statement, because you look at the whole thing and look at the statement that Tony Blair made, 11 years back, and the fact that we didn't act on it, and we see it experiment. Because look at the lady behind you. Now, she is a Nigerian. Now, Nigeria is not an Islamic state, neither is it a Christian state. There is freedom of worship, there is freedom of association. I can decide to worship whatever I want to worship, so far as I'm there and I'm not bringing it into your somebody will say into your face, or doing it in your face. You cannot tell me that I'm doing anything wrong with it. But with this, why would people think that, okay, I think that it's better for us to separate ourselves so that everybody will be doing whatever they are doing? So what has been the outcry of Nigerians as a whole in reaction to this, what is going on there so far?
The reaction has been backfiring, and it has literally brought tension among all the major religions in the country as of today. Like I said, there is still this young man as well that is currently facing charges of defamation, even though he says that it seems that the criticism that has gone on for a very long time against religious traditional worshiper have taken place. It seems the condemnation has happened, but maybe because of the new social media, his own message is asking Tani Olom, who is a god? Who is the God? And it seems that has become a friction between the Muslim and the traditional worshippers. And it seems already, as we speak right now, he was actually kidnapped in Ibadan to Ilorin. The police have said they never granted any such warrant. The question then is, who took a warrant to set him up and kidnap him without the Ibadan, which is Oyo State, knowing how the Kwara State police came into the state, took him away? But as I speak right now, he's now in the court. Some of the lawyers have stood up, and this morning I've seen many travelers to Ilorin to find out what is going to happen to him. But like I said, these are just one. Remember, like you said, in Kano, we saw the young girl killed because of a religious view in a WhatsApp message between the group in the state. And as of today, nobody yet has been called out, and nobody else has been served the punishment for the death of Rebecca.
Well, so the question is, do all Nigerian lives matter, or some matters more than others? Do your life matter? And looking at religion and everything, what do you think about it? What do you think can be done so that we can live peacefully? There should be peaceful coexistence, right, as a nation. But if you're not getting that, then what is the point? Well, we'll be talking more about that. And this evening on Niger Voices, there's going to be lots of discussions on all those issues there. So don't you go away. But let me go back to Yomi for the rest of the stories that is making the rounds. Over to you, sir.
Well, the new ministers are now saying that they will have a lot of work to put on their shoulder. And like you said, it seems already that the work would have to start because the current situation of the economy in Nigeria is not really smiling. But let's take one or two more, headline. We've been monitoring what is happening in the South Africa with the BRICS. I'm not sure, like I said, if the president will be traveling there. But what I can say is that God will use the President Bola Tinubu and all his ministers to develop Nigeria. He actually said the same thing some few years before when the former President Muhammadu Buhari was there, but we saw that Buhari collapsed the economy. Who is actually saying this, and why is he saying that? That is Pastor Kumoyi. Pastor Kumoyi says we are going to see new things for our country through our president and members of his cabinet. This is actually generated again a lot of controversy on the social media. William Kumuyi, the founder of the Deeper Life Bible Church, says God will use President Bola Tinubu and his cabinet members to build a better Nigeria, while also urging Nigerians to stop criticizing every step of the government officials. I don't know what that means. So it seems that maybe we shouldn't criticize Rishi Sunak if he's not doing the right thing according to what God will want us to do. But maybe it's in Africa. The cleric actually disclosed this yesterday, while his church monthly global crusade scheduled for Thursday in Oshogbo in Osun State is about to take place. Let's forget the past. This is a new day. We all believe that we are going to see new things for our country through our president and through the members of the cabinet. Good things will happen. So we have to wait again until those good things happen. And if they don't happen, then maybe we'll come back and question Pastor Kumuyi. Let's take out two more because, like I said, time constraint. The Nigerian Economic Summit Group holds talks with the CBN over the Nigeria physical economic stability. It seems that the foreign reserve is going as quickly as away from us. The question is, who actually take more out of the foreign reserve of Nigeria? The Nigerian Economic Summit Group yesterday held a discussion with the Central Bank of Nigeria on areas of collaboration towards achieving economic stability. According to the statement by the group, the discussion took place when the group board of directors, led by its chairman Niyi Yusuf, paid a courtesy visit to the CBN acting governor Fola Shonubi in Abuja. The meeting was centered around synergizing towards ensuring Nigerian monetary and macroeconomic stability. The leadership of the CBN was also invited to collaborate and participate. So let's see how that is going to make any changes. Like I said, there is a lot of expectation from Nigerians, from the southwest to the southeast to the middle belt on this government. Lending savings widened by 22.14%, two-digit in July report. As we look into the next one, the gap between the maximum lending rate and the saving deposit rate in the banking sector widening by 22.14% in July. Bank saving deposit rate rose slightly to 5.24% in July from 5.88%. Figure that was obtained on the money market indicators from the Apex Bank also revealed that the maximum lending rate slightly to 27.38. Imagine you have to lend from almost two digits, as many businesses cannot sustain such. Let's go straight into what is happening in politics. Obi campaign denies planned merge with Atiku. We actually said this on Monday, but it seems that that is not what actually is going to happen according to the Obi Atiku merger. Remember, we talked about the merger between Atiku, Obi, and Kwankwaso. But the National Secretary of the Labour Party, Umar Farouk, and ties media aide to the Labour Party flag bearer Peter Obi have now denied knowledge of an ongoing merger arrangement with the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party. Let me come back again to you in the studio, Mr. Archie, and then we're going to touch straight on what is happening on the social media this morning. Once again, it is the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London.
Well, listeners, Mr. Laimi Koike in our North London studios. I'm actually here in the South studios and we're bringing you updates from Nigeria. And let me say good morning to Mavis Akufu all the way in Ghana. She says she's chilling out in Takoradi, and I hope that you're enjoying the holidays there. Yeah, good one there. And thank you to every one of you who is also shared the broadcast, or those of you on all the other platforms watching us, listening to us. We salute you. I say, but for you, there will be no need for us to be here. But let's go straight to the Kwankwaso, Peter Obi, and Atiku. Now, with the statement that the pastor has made, what is the name of the pastor? Kumoye has made. Now, I was saying that in a way, he is actually endorsing Tinubu's presidency and saying that no, let's let sleeping dogs lie, everything that is passed, let it pass, blah blah blah. So is that going to some way somehow influence the decision of the tribunal? Then secondly, the question is, we're looking at the measure and we're saying that if Atiku and Peter Obi decided to have been together as PDP candidates, they would have won the elections arms down. But they didn't. They decided to go their separate ways. And that's why we are seeing all this. So what do you think? What do you think?
Let's listen to just under 50 seconds how Pastor Kumoye, and then I'll respond to that.
Those ministers that have been chosen in the cabinet, they are not new people that have never done anything. If you look at them one by one, you'll see the good things they've done. If we support them, if we are not, criticizing every step and they don't know where to stand, if we accept them and we believe that God will work through them, He'll use them as instruments to build our nation, let's forget the past. This is a new day. And I believe, and we all believe, we're going to see new things for our country through our president and through the members of the cabinet. Good things will happen.
Well, good things will happen. This kind of endorsement to Bola Tinubu. Will this make any changes with the outcome of the election petition tribunal? As we do know also that Atiku is really pushing to get all the information as much from the past of the President Bola Tinubu while he was in Chicago. We're expecting some kind of outcome from that later on today. Would that make any changes as well? Would that turn things around? There is a lot of Nigerians that are responding to the latest from Pastor Kumoye, and like you did ask, could this be a kind of endorsement to Bola Tinubu? Well, already he's already making his way to make Nigeria great, but it seems Peter Obi, Atiku are not yet individuals that are pleased with the outcome, and both of them are still firing from both cylinder. But how much the cylinder will go is what we don't know. Whether there will be a rerun, but like you heard this morning again, Peter Obi says, whoever put that out, I am not merging with Atiku. I remain Labour Party, and I will still continue to fight for the election that was rigged under the INEC, and the world saw that, but everybody kept mute.
Okay, listen, let's start Radio UK. Daisy Man 123. Good morning to you, and thank you very much for joining us as well. It's this morning to all of us here on the Starr Radio UK platform. Okay, so we still not got a date, a tentative date for the ruling from the tribunal, right?
No, not yet.
Okay. Okay. This might be the first time we are seeing anything of the sort. How long normally does it take?
Well, it shouldn't be that long, but this is a very, very sensitive case. So I believe they are putting everything in place, all the mechanism in place for the outcome that might not bring, the chaos or anarchy or the expectation from both sides, because it might be turning around against even the current president, and that means put a full stop to whatever he's doing. And even now that the African Union is not backing the military intervention in Niger, but Niger will be suspended by the African Union, as we heard from them in the last few hours.
Okay, listen, let's start Radio UK. Before we let Mr. Lainiko go to what is happening on the social media platform. The Minister of Defense, Mohammed Abubakar, and the Minister of State, Dr. Bello Matawale, have asked service chiefs to give them timeline and requirements to end insecurity in the country. Now, this is a big ask. And that is what Nigerians are actually looking for, that they are at a place where they know that they are able to go peacefully about their duties, their daily chores, and do whatever things. Do you think that, with that statement, it will make anything, or because the new sheriff is in town, so we're going to be seeing something different? You know what I mean?
Well, we shouldn't throw everything out. We just have to believe that, these are new faces, these are new ministers, chief security officers. Buhari refused to change some for a very long time, until there was pressure and he had to bow down. But the defense minister, like I said, is demanding timeline to end terrorism and banditry. It's easier said than done. If the equipment is there, if the intelligence is there, if sharing of intelligence is also there. Like you said, the Minister of Defense, Mohammed Abubakar, and the Minister of State, Dr. Bello Matalawa, has asked service chief to give them a timeline. And while you're just saying that, going back to the social media, I just picked up where the Boko Haram and the ISIS are fighting on the waterway in Nigeria. You wonder, how did we get to where they can even capture themselves on the video and post that on the social media? It shows that intelligence in Nigeria is either being infiltrated, is not being circulated between the security agency. Given a timeline to terrorism, we know that even here in UK, terrorism is still being fought, but is not as physical and visual as we know, and that is why say sorted, but in Nigeria say it, and you might be the one to be at the back of the gulag if you try to sort it out. So, and as many Nigerians are scared, especially those living in the rural community, because if they see it and say it so that it can be sorted out, they might be the one to be wiped off, as many communities have been wiped off from the surface of Africa, especially Nigeria, because many killings still go ahead. Going back again to Tony Blair, May 26, 2014, the Nigerian kidnappers' ideology. This was just after 240 Nigerian girls shook the world, underneath the, African countries. According to them, the ideology is based on the warped and false view of religion. It is taught in formal and informal school setting worldwide, and it seems that is already what is taking place now in Ilorin, where the ideology of Islam is different from the Southwest belief, where we live in harmony for a very long time. But it seems that if care is not taken, Ilorin might be the new breeding ground for the new different kind of ideology Muslims that are living in that part of the world.
Wow, listen, let's start Radio UK. Okay, Yomi, bring us what is happening on the social media, please.
Well, I'm not sure why the former president Buhari is trending. Sheyi Tinubu is trending, and I can tell why. Because Aluko, as much as we're not going to go into the details of Alison Makdekwe, but we know that there was a property in London that Sheyi Tinubu brought from Aluko Kolawole. Aluko Kolawole is linked to Dezeni, according to the news out in the public domain. But the question is, why is it trending again today? We know that Sheyi Tinubu's dad is the one leading the most populous black nation as we speak today, and many Nigerians are really reacting. Especially some are not happy that he has so much security that is protecting him. But I believe that as the son of the president, he needs to be protected so that a ransom is not paid after he's been kidnapped. So he has extra security in one of his outing that is already in circulation some few weeks ago. Also, we know that Buhari is trending. Buhari has left the government, but he's not yet left the social media, as many Nigerians are still talking about Buhari. Once again, we talked about Amosun, these beautiful sisters of ours. That was, we believe maybe there was some mistake, but it seems that she's coming back very, very strong. World Athletic Champions Toby Amosun wins the heat and qualifies for the semi-final. Toby Amosun ran a time of 12 minutes 48 seconds to win the 5th women's heat. She was suspended, but it seems things have gone back to normal. All this was happening in Budapest in Hungary, where she's qualified for the semi-final at the 2023 World Athletics Championship in Budapest. So what is trending? Like I said, Buhari is trending this morning. Toby Amosun, like we told you, is trending. And as usual, Bola Tinubu is trending. I'm just looking at this. The Presidency State House released the 15th summit. President Tinubu, very passionate about the empowering of the MSE, says the Vice President. So it seems that the Vice President is attending on behalf of the government. From the images that is now popped up, we did say that we are not too sure, but from the Director of Information of the Office of the Vice President, the Vice President Shetima, who took time to inspect Nigerian exhibition, lauded investment of Nigeria in South Africa. He said, I am quite impressed by the investment Nigerians are making in South Africa. This is the beginning of greater things to come. I can say that Nigerians are active in digital economy. They are also active in fashion, and they are equally active in mining. So that is coming from the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, representing Bola Tinubu at the ongoing second-day summit in South Africa, where the BRICS are trying to bring as many more countries on board. And I'll be saying more on that later on this evening when we come on the Niger Voices. Once again, I'll come back again to you as we come to the end of the headline. As I can see that is the Vice President with some of the team that travel with him to South Africa.
Well, listeners, Starr Radio UK, you want to know more about the BRICS, what conference or meeting that is taking place in South Africa, you got to make sure that exactly at 18 hours BST or 6 p.m. If you're in Nigeria, or GMT +1, yes, you will join me, Solaimi Koiki. Yomi, before you go.
Well, like you said, later on the Niger Voices, there will be a lot of discussion, and the focus again will be the BRICS, and we'll be touching more on the religious views of individuals in Nigeria. Starr Radio UK, the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. Have a very good morning. Bye for now.
Bye-bye. Well, listeners, that has been Mr. Olaimi Koike bringing you updates from Nigeria. It's Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Now 21 minutes to the end of the program, so let's crack on. We're not going to be taking any break. Let's crack on, and then we will round up the program, because there are a few stories that we'll have to be looking at before we bring the program to a close. Now, the BRICS meeting that is taking place in South Africa. You remember back in the day they did say that, well, if the Russian leader do travel outside Russia, then he should be arrested, because South Africa, we knew that the BRICS meeting was going to take place in South Africa sometime. But the question is, can South Africa actually apprehend Putin? Would they do that? Okay, so that is another question that you need to, we're going to be looking at. I don't think so. And is he there at all? Some are saying that he's there already, but I'm not very sure about that. We'll be bringing you more about all that in a moment. But in Zimbabwe, well, the polls are open on a crucial presidential and legislative election. Now, polls are open today for Zimbabweans to vote in the country's general election. Let me say good morning to Mama Evelyn Dizani. I hope you are doing very, very well. She hails from South Africa. She's been there a few times. And lastly, I think a couple of months ago, yes, are you voting? I'm not sure that you will be allowed to vote when you are here. The presidential and parliamentary elections taking place are crucial to determine the future of a southern African nation endowed with vast mineral resources and rich agricultural land. The opposition, traditionally stronger in urban areas, is hoping to ride a wave of discontent at the southern African country's economic troubles amid high inflation and unemployment. We are tired of this. We are living from hand to mouth, said Paddington, a 27-year-old fruit vendor, as he sat on a rusty blue truck with a flat tire and a load full of oranges at the bustling market of Mbari, Harare's oldest township. Now, Paddington is amongst the growing voices of anger and frustration in Zimbabwe, who will be hoping things change for the better, particularly with a new president. But will this be enough to displace Emmerson Mnangagwa from winning a second 5-year term? At dawn Wednesday morning, many gathered at the police station in Mbari, Harare, and the capital, checking for their names on the register and forming lines. It is my right to vote, so it is important for me to vote, one Diana said at her polling unit. Nafara Ndonga, a young vendor, expressed optimism about the vote. So far, so good. To cast a vote is very important. The Constitution says that the one we choose to be the candidate can develop our site with we have in our constituency and in our area. So it's very important to be choosing a candidate for MP. Okay, well, interesting one there. But the question is it going to be a free and a fair election? What has the AU said so far about it? Have they sent monitors to the ground, especially when we know that because Zimbabwe, most of the Western countries still have sanctions placed on them? They are not doing very well, and that's it. So I'm not sure that they're going to be sending anybody there per se. I don't know whether the UN will send some delegation there to go monitor the election, as to whether they are even there or not. We see other elections taking place. We see blatantly when even there are monitors there, and whatever happens. So as we know, no free and fair election for Africa. No. Even in this part, even in the US. So, but the question is, would the election be rigged? The Mnangagwa's main challenger is Nelson Chamisa, 45, who leads the Yellow-Colored Citizens Coalition for Change, that is the CCC party. The lawyer and pastor has promised a new Zimbabwe for everyone, tackling corruption, relaunching the economy, and pulling the country out of international isolation. So, how come that African countries are not trading with Zimbabwe? Or do we have the Western or developed countries telling them that, look, if you dare trade with Zimbabwe, we will sanction you as well? Over the weekend, I listened to a preacher man. I just chanced on it, and he was talking about the division, the seed of division that has been sowed among blacks. When I say blacks, I mean Africans. So that if we are all together, we're talking about the resources, the mineral resources that Zimbabwe has. So they shouldn't see themselves in this particular state at all. Now, we've been talking about Russia. We're talking about the war in Ukraine. We've been criticizing what Russia is doing. However, Russia is still thriving. Why? Because it's got some big hooks who are still trading with them. Now, today, as I did say, they're having the BRICS meeting in South Africa, which is going on there as well. So the question now here is, will or should African countries trade with Zimbabwe to make sure that, well, if the West are saying whatever, we need your gold, we need your whatever, is it iron ore, whatever minerals, whatever thing that you have, and therefore we are investing there, and we want to take that, or to help them, to help that particular country to get on their feet, or we will just say, well, it's not us, it is this part of this the African continent that is facing that. And that is what we see when it comes to Niger, it comes to Mali, it comes to Burkina Faso, and all that. That now we have the AU saying they're placing sanctions on them or suspending them. So what's the point? I mean, what did they get from the AU per se? Because if there's something that is gotten from the AU, then we should have seen Zimbabwe actually becoming better off than what it is at the moment. But well, listeners, it is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. All the best to them. We hope that they come out. A peaceful results come tomorrow at the day after that. Now, Russian army official received in Libya after Khalifa Haftar invite. This is the first official visit of a Russian military delegation to Libya. Moscow's defense ministry has said. And why are they there? So I can tell you that there seem to be a new force that is rearing up gradually. Okay? So those who are a bit religious. Now, have you read the book of Revelation or the book of Daniel? The book of Daniel will describe things properly there. And you look at all the various, the statue, the image, let me put it, that's how they put it, the image that Nebuchadnezzar dreamt of, and all the descriptions and explanation that has been given to it. Where do you think we are at this time? Think about it. Okay, listen to Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Well, in Morocco, nearly 200 migrants intercepted off Atlantic coast. It's one of the stories making the rounds there. On Tuesday, the Moroccan Navy intercepted 190 migrants from sub-Saharan Africa aboard makeshift boats between the coasts of Tantan in southern Morocco and Dakhla on western Sahara, according to a military source. Now, units of Royal Navy and elements in charge of coastal surveillance intercepted on Tuesday in the southern territorial waters between Tantan and Dakhla makeshift boats with a total of 190 candidates for irregular migration on board, including 11 women, all sub-Saharan, the military source said. And so when we have our leaders sitting there, and we have ministers that are appointed, and we have funds or budgets given to them, so that they have to see to it that they use those monies to actually help alleviate people to develop the economy, to develop things, so that our people will know that at least if I'm living here in my own country, I can go about, come back, and I have something to eat, and I have something to be proud of. And they don't do it, and the pastor says that we don't have to criticize them, that we should just leave them alone. Boy, oh boy. Well, Starr Radio UK, what is pushing these people to leave their countries or pulling them? What are the pull factors? Well. Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Okay, we'll take a quick break and I will be with you.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Starr, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Getting onto the property ladder has never been easy until now. Join us this and every Thursday from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. live on the Property Hour Show on Starr Radio UK, where we talk to mortgage brokers, property developers, estate agents, landlord, tenant, property consultants on how to invest or get into the property business and make money. You can't afford to miss this. The Property Hour Show is your best source into the property industry.
Welcome back to the program. It is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Bringing the time now to 8 minutes to the top of the hour. And it is the Wednesday edition of the morning show. Okay. All right. Now, so let's move on to some other stories making the rounds this morning. That pertaining to. Okay. Yes. Just bear with me. My cursor was playing now. Okay. Those of you who are on the various platforms watching us, I salute each and every one of you, and I say thank you very much for the Anthony Adedeji. Thank you very much, my man, for joining in as well. Okay, so we're going to be running up pretty soon. Okay. Well, so now moving on straight to some of the other stories making the rounds this morning on the African continent. Mohammed's running mate is less focused on exposing it says Dr. Apak is saying let's focus on exposing the reckless, corrupt MPP government and forget about looking at who becomes Mohammed's running mate. Because it seems to be the infighting that seems to be going on. The Member of Parliament for Bolza South, Dr. Clement Apak, has advised activists of the new National Democratic Congress to concentrate on exposing the governing New Patriotic Party rather than who partners former President John Mahama for 2024 elections. This comes on the back of a number of interest groups and individuals coming up with names engaging in publicities for the possible running mates to former President John Mahama for the 2024 presidential election. But the Bolza South lawmaker says any effort to push someone on the former president will be an exercise in futility. NDC activists should focus their energies to exposing the reckless, corrupt Galamsey Nanado Baumia MDP government taking up leading efforts to make the case as to why our party is the only option, galvanize our base and help reconcile fallouts from constituency, regional, national and parliamentary primary elections. Now, interestingly, I like them when they are all in opposition. When they are in opposition, they fight for the people like no man's business. But because they are there, they can fight as much as they want, but they don't make any impact per se. Okay? But when they come to power, they sing a different tune. So what is happening there? It is all Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Let's move on straight to this part of the world. A quick one story. Well, India Chandrayaan 3 attempts first ever South Pole moon landing. The country's space agency wants to be the first in history to land an aircraft near the lunar South Pole. The story says Chandrayaan 3 is India's third lunar mission, and its Vikram lander is due to touch down at 18 hours 4 minutes India time, or this afternoon. That is 13:34 BST. Inside is a 6-wheeled Pragyan rover, which, if all goes to plan, will roam the lunar surface, gathering images and data. The scientists believe craters that are permanently in shadow on the dark side of the moon may hold frozen water. The attempt comes after days after Russia's uncrewed Luna 25 spacecraft spun out of control and crashed into the moon. This is all coming your way from Starr Radio UK. Now, a reward is being offered to solve fatal carnival stabbing of Takayo Nimbahat. £20,000 reward is being offered to help convict the killer of an aspiring rapper who was stabbed to death at last year's Northern Hill Carnival. And a father-to-be, Takayo Nembad, 21, from Bristol, was attacked in Ladbroke Grove, West London, during the event at about 20 hours BST on the 29th of August. Now, several people have since been arrested in connection to his death, but no one has been charged. The Met officers will go to the event this weekend to make fresh witness appeals. Mr. Nimhard, who performed under the name Tikos Stretch, had been visiting the carnival with his sister and friends and was in a large crowd when he was attacked under the Westway flyover. A sad one, and a sad loss of life there as well. This is all coming your way from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Well, let me bring you this one, and then we can bring the program to a close. Not touching much here. Now, Vladimir Putin has addressed the BRICS summit in South Africa via video link, so he didn't go. He didn't travel due to risk of arrest. Okay. Now, he again blamed the West for Russia's invasion of Ukraine in 2022, saying they stoked a coup d'etat in Ukraine in 2014. His address came hours after 3 people were killed by drone strikes in Belgorod near the Ukrainian border. Now, Moscow was also attacked by drones overnight, with 1 skyscraper damaged. Now, meanwhile, General Sergei Surovikin, who was previously in charge of Russia's forces in Ukraine, has been sacked from his latest role. Now, Surovikin, nicknamed General Armageddon, hasn't been seen in public since the Wagner rebellion in June. Now, we had Prigozhin actually chastising or criticizing Surovikin, and now he's been sacked. So, is it that Putin was thinking that what Prigozhin was saying was right, but he wanted to find a nice way of doing so? Well, why didn't he brace himself, call himself a strong man, and go to South Africa? Was he scared that the West would have done their worst? The West would have done their worst to arrest him, or maybe South Africa will be forced to arrest him? Is that what is happening? Okay, but he's saying that, the war in Ukraine is due to the fact that the West actually incited a coup d'etat in Ukraine, and that is why he attacked Ukraine. Interesting. Now, after the change of government, Russia illegally annexed Crimea, had proxy forces capture parts of Ukraine's east, and launched its bloody full-scale invasion in 2022. So, is that why they went there, so that they can actually overthrow the government there and then install their own puppet? Is that it? Well. Listeners, this is where I bring the program to a close for today. But this evening, as we've said, Mr. Laimi Kwaiku will be coming your way with the Niger Voices. And make sure you join him. It will be exactly at 18 hours BST or that is that will be 17 hours GMT plus 1. Okay, that will be 18. What would that be? Yes, plus 1 or 6 p.m. Nigeria time. Make sure you make a date with him. Okay, so on that note, let me say thank you very much for joining me today. It's been a pleasure coming your way. I'll be back tomorrow, God willing, with another edition of the morning show. But remember, tomorrow dawn we'll be having Reverend Michael Esiama and his team bringing you Command Your Morning. Yes? Thank you very much, and bye-bye for now. Enjoy this song from Ash and they say it's a cover version of Bob Marley's song "No Woman, No Cry." Enjoy.
Shed no tears, no woman, no cry. Said I remember when we used to sit in the government yard and trenched out about observing the hypocrites.
Thanks for listening.
People with